Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Pretty early in the season, Carly, and the second meeting already for that Midwest rivalry between the Ponce and the
I know,
Bobcats.
It's exciting. And you know, there's a lot more on the line last night than just the score of that game, obviously, as we get closer and closer to that final roster deadline. So a very important game for both teams.
Huge deal, absolutely. And all we're thinking about, Peter, is the weekend. So.
Yes, indeed. And it is looking like a good weekend if we can get through these next 2 days. Or actually just for tomorrow, we have a cooler day for tomorrow and then a nice weekend on the way. We're currently in the Midwest, sitting at 17 degrees. We had a nicer day today, and we have a warm southwest wind keeping our temperatures up as we take a look around the region. 17 degrees in the Lakeland as well, with mostly cloudy skies. And the Battleford is a little warmer at 18 with mostly sunny skies. I'll have all your weather details in just a few minutes.
Residents in Maidstone needing emergency assistance may need to travel further than they plan to. Starting today, Prairie North Health Region has issued a service interruption in the ER due to a physician shortage. Kathy Lee brings us the story from Maidstone and tells us where patients can go for assistance.
Jacob, this isn't the first time the Maidstone Health Complex has experienced a shortage of doctors. 4 is what they need to provide 24/7 emergency assistance. Right now, they're down by 2.
For the last 3 months, Ida Mead has been by her husband's side, taking care of him in the palliative ward.
My significant other, Alvin, has got cancer, and he's in the final phase.
Living in Cutknife, their hospital shut down, so the only other choice was to travel 30 minutes to Maidstone for help.
I needed a doctor and nurses to help me at home. I couldn't do it, so we came here.
Despite Alvin's ailing condition, the couple is thankful to have had a doctor's care, a service that will now be hard to find in Maidstone.
We have to interrupt our ER services. We have to suspend the admission of acute care patients into our hospital.
Due to a physician shortage, Sylvestre says they've had to interrupt services in the ER, but patients will be directed to the closest emergency department if needed.
If someone was to walk into our facility as an emergency and we didn't have physician coverage, they would still certainly be seen, assessed by a registered nurse.
Doctor shortages is an ongoing problem for the region, a consequence the Meads have also had to endure.
There's always that if and wonder, is he going to be around when we really need him? Where before there was always a doctor around.
Sylvestre says due to limited physician resources, it's hard to keep doctors in their area. But with the new Saskatchewan-based process, he hopes they can recruit more.
It used to be 55 physicians that they would assess under the old system, and now they have the ability of assessing up to 90 physicians.
And for the sake of her husband and others, Ida hopes recruitment comes soon.
In our case, we're hoping that we get a new doctor soon and that things don't get shut down for any great length of time.
Sylvestre says they've already contacted 2 potential physicians to fill the roles. However, it could take as long as March of next year to have a full staff up and running again. Reporting in Maidstone, Kathy Lee, Newcap News.
Today was the opening day for nominations for councillors in rural Saskatchewan municipalities, specifically for councillors in even-numbered divisions. And these upcoming elections will be the first ones affected by new Saskatchewan legislation. Frances Olson is with the rural municipality of Brittania. She says voters and potential candidates should be aware that terms for elected officials will now be longer.
Rather than the 2-year rotation that RM residents have been used to for decades, they're transitioning to a 4-year period.
Olson acknowledges the change brings potential benefits and pitfalls.
It could be helpful in that there's more continuity in the council. I mean, you can always be the devil's advocate and say it could be difficult to get enough, people to run when it is a 4-year commitment.
She also wants to make the public aware of changes to the nomination process itself.
Nominations used to close at 3 o'clock on the last day, which is the Wednesday now, which is always going to be 5 weeks before an election day, whereas before it was only 3 weeks, so there's a longer campaign period, shall we say.
Elections for the even-numbered divisions, if necessary, will be held on Wednesday, October 26th. Nomination papers are available at the RM Brittania Municipal Office. For more information, you can contact them at 306 825-2610. School is back in, and that means the buses are up and running. With that in mind, the RCMP and the Lloydminster Public School Division are asking drivers to slow down and be cautious when around those school buses. Jack Haskins brings us the story.
Pat Bucknell has several years of school bus driving under her belt. She recalls a chilling moment when an irresponsible driver nearly took the life of a child getting off the bus.
Instead of passing on the driver's side, they actually passed on the passenger side. And the child had just went to step out of the bus, and I caught a glimpse of the vehicle coming, was able to reach out and grab her coat and pull her back into the bus as the vehicle went by.
You'll be seeing a lot more of these yellow giants roaming around your neighborhood now that school has started, and the RCMP is reminding you to give them some space or suffer the consequences.
Every year we get a lot of complaints from the bus drivers, and we deal with them by mailing out tickets to the registered owners of vehicles, delivering tickets in person to those registered owners.
When the red lights on the bus are flashing, drivers on either side of the road are to stop. Those who choose to ignore these rules should keep this in mind.
Every child that's on our system is somebody's child, somebody's grandchild, somebody's neighbor and things, and you certainly wouldn't want to be the driver that's responsible for either causing injury or death and things. That would be a terrible thing to have to live with.
Jack Haskins, Newcap News.